25% of the world's hazelnut supply goes inside Nutella jars every year? That's how creamy, chocolatey spread becomes so irresistible. However, behind every jar is a fascinating process where hazelnuts are roasted to perfection, blended with rich cocoa and transformed into the smooth, velvety spread we all love. With high-speed machines filling over 6,000 jars per hour, the precision of this process is mind-blowing. But what's Ferrero's ultimate secret to their signature taste? Hit that subscribe button and let's dive inside the factory to find out where swimming pools of chocolate are waiting for us. Nutella isn't just a spread, it is a global obsession. However, what if I told you that this creamy chocolate delight was born out of desperation, war, and pure Italian ingenuity? Yes, that's right. Let's rewind to 1946. Post-World War II, Europe was a mess. Food was scarce, sugar was rationed, and, worst of all, chocolate was impossible to find. This was a disaster for an Italian pastry chef named Pietro Ferrero because his bakery in Alba, Italy, thrived on chocolate treats. When the cocoa went out from the market, his business also crashed, and he needed a solution to save it. So, in a stroke of genius, he took what was available: hazelnuts, sugar, and just a touch of cocoa. With these ingredients, he crafted a thick, chocolatey paste. At first, it was shaped into solid loaves, meant to be sliced and placed onto bread. He called it giandujotte, inspired by the classic Italian hazelnut chocolate confection, giandua. The new treat was delicious and affordable, but most importantly, it made chocolate stretch further. Then came 1951, and Ferrero made a game-changing decision. He softened the recipe into a spreadable version and named it Super Crema. Suddenly, Italian households didn't just have chocolate, they had a chocolate spread. Later on, Pietro's son Michele Ferrero transformed this family invention into a worldwide phenomenon. In 1964, he took Super Crema and fine-tuned its texture and taste further. He gave it a new catchy name, Nutella. The first jar was sold on April 20th, 1964, and within months, Italy was hooked. Soon, Nutella fever spread across Europe, and then the whole world. What started as a desperate wartime fix has become one of the most beloved treats on Earth. All because of one Italian baker who refused to let a chocolate shortage stand in his way. Before Nutella ever reaches a spoon, it begins with hazelnuts, and we're not talking about ordinary hazelnuts. Ferrero is obsessed with quality, which they source from Turkey, Italy, and Chile. Turkey alone produces around 70% of the world's hazelnuts, and a huge portion of them end up in Nutella. However, there is something most people don't know about their favorite delight. Ferrero doesn't just buy hazelnuts off the market. They work directly with farmers to make sure that only top-grade nuts make the cut. The moment hazelnuts are harvested, they go through a painstaking selection process. Special machines scan them for size, shape, and quality. Machines initially scrutinize the nuts that are not according to the standards, but the real test comes from strict human inspectors. They are highly trained specialists who will physically examine random batches while checking aroma and texture. If a nut smells slightly off, you know what is going to happen: tossed. Things get even crazier at this point. Ferrero doesn't just accept the best hazelnuts. They store them in temperature-controlled silos to keep them fresh year-round. Hazelnuts harvested in autumn might not make it into Nutella jars until months later. But thanks to these silos, they stay just as fresh as the day they were picked. When the approved hazelnuts come inside Ferrero factories, they are greeted with one of the most critical steps: roasting. Ferrero is very unique in this regard. Unlike many chocolate brands, they do not roast their nuts in bulk. Rather, they roast them in small batches to bring out the richest possible flavor. The secrets of the world's most famous Nutella doesn't end here. Instead of blasting every batch at the same temperature, the Ferrero system analyzes the moisture content of each batch and adjusts the roasting conditions accordingly. They do this because one batch might need a few degrees higher or lower, while another might require a slightly different roasting time. This method keeps the flavor incredibly consistent, something most chocolate companies struggle with. The average temperature of roasting is 150 degrees to 160 degrees Celsius, but the exact timing is a Ferrero secret. Once the nuts reach the perfect roast, they are immediately cooled down to stop the cooking process. Workers stay laser focused during this stage because any delay here and hazelnuts could lose their ideal balance of flavor. After a perfect roast, the hazelnuts move on to the grinding process, where they transform from crunchy little nuts into the creamy foundation of Nutella. This isn't just a simple grind. Ferrero's industrial grinders operate at nearly 10,000 RPMs. These monsters will reduce the hazelnuts to particles so small that they're almost invisible to the human eye. This is the place where Nutella's signature texture is crafted. Ferrero is very meticulous here too. Instead of grinding everything in one go, they use a multi-stage refining process. The first grind gets rid of large particles, while the second and third passes make the paste so fine that it becomes silky smooth. By the end of this stage, the hazelnut paste is so creamy that it drips like a liquid. However, it is not finished yet and doesn't taste like Nutella at all. Now, it is time for the cocoa magic. The chocolatey richness of Nutella comes from a carefully crafted cocoa blend that Ferrero keeps under lock and key. The secret to Nutella's chocolate flavor lies in the particle size. Ferrero grinds its cocoa down to less than 20 microns. This is smaller than a single grain of flour. The finer the cocoa, the smoother the final spread. If the particles do not have this recommended size, Nutella would not have its signature melt-in-your-mouth feel. After blending the cocoa, here comes the real chemistry. The hazelnut paste and cocoa powder will be blended with the exact right balance of sugar, skim milk powder, and palm oil. Each ingredient plays a crucial role. The sugar adds sweetness without overpowering the hazelnut flavor, and the skim milk powder gives Nutella a creamy consistency. Palm oil often gets a bad reputation, but Ferrero's chemists love it. The company uses 100% sustainable RSPO certified palm oil, which ensures no deforestation or harm to wildlife. But why are these chemists obsessed with palm oil in the first place? The reason is, unlike butter or vegetable oils, palm oils stay semi-solid at room temperature. That means Nutella will remain soft and spreadable without becoming too runny and stiff. It also prevents the cocoa and hazelnut oils from separating, which is why you have never seen an oily layer on top of a fresh jar of Nutella. To everything blended perfectly, Ferrero adds soy lecithin, a natural emulsifier that prevents oil and solids from separating. Without it, you would open a jar to find a hardened chunk at the bottom and an oily mess on top. Definitely not the Nutella experience we expect. Before this blend goes for the packaging, there's one last ingredient that brings everything together: vanilla. It is not just an ordinary vanilla. By now you must be familiar with the particular nature of the people running Ferrero. They use a special blend that enhances the chocolate and hazelnuts without overpowering them. It is a small touch, but the final key to Nutella's unmistakable taste. Now, the Nutella is ready to be packed into its iconic jars. This is where things get insanely fast. Massive industrial machines fill over 6,000 jars per hour, while giving every single jar the exact right amount of Nutella with the help of an automated setup. The filled jars then move down a conveyor belt to be sealed, labeled, and inspected. Each jar is weighed to the exact gram, and if it's slightly under or over it, it will be pulled out from the line. When everything is done, Ferrero's quality control team tests random samples to check for texture, consistency, and flavor. When the samples pass all these tests, it is time to pack them in the boxes. The supplying manager will get the nod to send them to the stores worldwide. This is where the legendary journey of Nutella ends with a global obsession. Whether you enjoy it on toast, pancakes, or straight from the jar, every spoonful carries decades of history, innovation, and deliciousness. Now, we have a question for you. How do you eat your Nutella? Are you a spreader, dipper, or a straight from the jar warrior? Drop your answers in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more mouth-watering deep dives. Until next time, keep spreading the love, and remember, one Nutella jar at a time.